Chapter 11. I had to stay in bed a whole week after that. That bugged me. I'm not the kind that can lie around and look at the ceiling all the time. I read most of the time and drew pictures. One day I started flipping through one of Soda's old yearbooks and came across a picture that seemed vaguely familiar. Not even when I read the name Robert Sheldon did it hit me who it was. And then I finally realized it was Bob. I took a real good long look at it. The picture didn't look a whole lot like the Bob I remembered, but nobody ever looks a whole lot like his yearbook picture anyway. He'd been a sophomore that year. That'd make him 18 when he died. Yeah, he was good looking even then, with a grin that reminded me of Soda's, a kind of reckless grin. He'd been a handsome, black-haired boy with dark eyes. I don't know, maybe brown like Soda's, maybe dark blue like the Shepherd boys. Maybe he had black eyes like Johnny. I'd never given Bob much thought. I hadn't had time to think. But that day I wondered about him. What was he like? I knew he liked to pick fights, had the usual social belief that living on the west side made you Mr. Super Tough, looked good in dark wine-colored sweaters, and was proud of his rings. But what about the Bob Sheldon that Cherry Valance knew? She was a smart girl. She didn't like him just because he was good-looking. Sweet and friendly and stands out from the crowd, that's what she said. A real person, the best buddy a guy ever had. Kept trying to make somebody stop him. Randy told me that. Did he have a kid brother that idolized him? Maybe a big brother who kept bugging him not to be so wild. His parents let him run wild because they loved him too much or too little. Do they hate us now? I hope they hated us, and they weren't full of the pity the victim of the environment junk the social workers kept handing Curly Shepherd every time he got sent off to reform school. I'd rather have anybody's hate than their pity. But then, maybe they understood, like Cherry Valance. I looked at Bob's picture and I could begin to see the person we had killed. A reckless, hot-tempered boy, cocky and scared stiff at the same time. Pony Boy. Yeah? I didn't look up. I thought it was the doctor. He'd been coming over to see me almost every day, although he didn't do much except talk. There's a guy here to see you, says he knows you. Something in Derry's voice made me look up, and his eyes were hard. His name's Randy. Oh, yeah, I know him, I said. You want to see him? Yeah, I shrugged, why not? A few guys from school had dropped by to see me. I have quite a few friends at school, even if I'm younger than most of them and don't talk much. But that's what they are, school friends, not buddies. I'd been glad to see him, but it bothered me because we lived in kind of a lousy neighborhood and our house isn't real great. It's run down looking and everything. The inside's kind of poor looking too. Even though a bunch of boys, we do a pretty good job of house cleaning. Most of my friends at school come from good homes, not filthy rich like the Sochas, but middle class anyways. It was a funny thing. It bugged me about my friends seeing our house, but I could care less what Randy thought. Hey, Pony Boy. Randy looked uncomfortable standing in the doorway. Hey, Randy, I said. Have a seat if you can find one. Books were lying all over everything. He pushed a couple off a chair and sat down. How are you feeling? Cherry told me your name was on the school bulletin. Oh, yeah, I'm all right. Can't really miss my name on any kind of bulletin. He still looked uncomfortable, although he tried to grin. Want to smoke? I offered him a weed, but he shook his head. No, thanks. Pony Boy, I came here to see if he was okay, but, 'cause we got to go see the judge tomorrow. Yeah, I said, lighting a cigarette. I know. Hey, holler if you see one of my brothers coming, okay? I'll catch it for smoking in bed. Well, my dad says for me to tell him the truth and nobody can get hurt. He's kind of upset about all this. I mean, my dad's a good guy and everything, better than most, and I kind of let him down, being mixed up in all this. I just looked at him. That was the dumbest remark I'd ever heard anyone make. He thought he was mixed up in this? He didn't kill anybody. He didn't get his head busted in a rumble. It wasn't his buddy that got shot down under a streetlight. Besides, what did he have to lose? His old man was rich. He could pay whatever fine there was for being drunk and picking a fight. I wouldn't mind getting fined, Randy said, but I feel lousy about the old man. It's the first time I've felt anything in a long time. The only thing I'd felt in a long time was being scared. Scared stiff. I'd put off thinking about the judge and the hearing for as long as I could. Soda and Derry didn't like to talk about it either, so we were just silently counting the days while I was sick. Counting the days we had left together. But with Randy sticking solidly to the subject, it was impossible to think about anything else. My cigarette started trembling. I guess your folks feel kind of awful about it, too. My parents are dead. I just live here with Derry and Soda, my brothers. I took a long drag on the cigarette. That's what was worrying me. If the judge decides that Derry's not a good guardian or something, I'm liable to get stuck in a home somewhere. That's the rotten part of this deal. Derry's a good guardian. He makes me study. He knows where I am and who I'm with all the time. I mean, we don't get along great sometimes, but he keeps me out of trouble. Or did. My father didn't yell at me as much as he does. Oh, I didn't know that. Randy looked worried. He really did. A Soch, even worried because some kid greaser was on his way to a foster home or something. That's really kind of funny. And I don't mean funny, but you know what I mean. Listen to me, Pony. You didn't do anything, okay? It's your friend Johnny that had the knife. I had it. I stopped him. He was looking at me strangely. I had the knife. I killed Bob. Randy shook his head. I saw it. You were almost drowned. It's the black-headed guy that had the switchblade. Bob scared him into doing it. I saw it. I was bewildered. I killed him. I had a switchblade, and I was scared that they were going to beat me up. No, kid, it was your friend, the one who died in the hospital. Johnny's not dead, I said, my voice shaking. Johnny is not dead. Hey, Randy. Darius stuck his head in the door. I think you better go now. Sure, Randy said, still looking at me kind of funny. See you around, Pony. Don't you ever say anything about Johnny, I heard Darius say in a low voice. He's still pretty racked up mentally and emotionally, and the doc said he'd get over it if we gave him time. I swallowed hard and blinked. He was just like the rest of the Socias, cold-blooded. Johnny didn't have anything to do with Bob's getting killed. Ponyboy Curtis, put out that cigarette. Okay, I put it out. I ain't gonna go to sleep smoking, Derry. If you make me stay in bed, there ain't anywhere else I can smoke. You're not gonna die if you don't get a smoke, but if that bed catches on fire, you will, so you couldn't make it through the door through that mess. Well, golly, I can't pick it up and Soda doesn't, so I guess that leaves you. He gave me one of those little looks. All right. That don't leave you. Maybe Soda will straighten it up. Maybe me a little bit neater, huh, little buddy? He'd never called me that. Soda was the only one who ever called me little buddy. Sure, I said. I'll be more careful.